Coronaviruses are a large family of viruses, some of which infect humans. The coronavirus at the root of COVID 19 is the newest known member of the family. Unlike other coronaviruses that infect people, the new coronavirus causes respiratory disease, among other symptoms. At their core, coronaviruses contain a genetic blueprint called RNA. Similar to DNA, the single-stranded RNA acts as a molecular message that enables production of proteins needed for other elements of the virus. Bound to this string of RNA and nuclear proteins and enable it to replicate. So encapsulating the RNA genome is the viral envelope, which protects the virus when it is outside of a host cell. This outer envelope is made from a layer of lipids, a waxy barrier containing fat molecules, as well as protecting the precious genetic cargo. This layer anchors the different structural proteins needed by the virus to infect cells. So, NFL proteins embedded in this layer aid the assembly of new virus particles once it has infected the cell. The bulbous projections seen on the outside of the coronavirus are spike proteins. This fringe of proteins gives the virus its crown or halo-like appearance under the microscope, from which the latter name corona is derived. The spike protein act as grappling hooks that allows the virus to latch on and to host cells and crack them open for infection. Like all viruses, coronavirus are unable to thrive and reproduce outside of the living host. COVID-19 is a respiratory illness caused by a new type of coronavirus. But what is the respiratory system and how is it affected by COVID-19? Our respiratory system is a series of organs responsible for taking in oxygen and expelling carbon dioxide, also known as something called gas exchange. So, when we become infected with COVID-19, it can cause an infection in parts of this respiratory system known as the respiratory tree, which is found in our lungs. So the respiratory tree, also called the bronchial tree, is a name given to the branch-like structure in her lungs, which includes the bronchi right down to tiny air sacs called alveoli. When we contract COVID-19, the lining of the respiratory tube becomes damaged, irritating the nerves in the lining of the airway and causing the dry cough we've heard about, however, for a small number of people. So the infection can cause more severe problems by affecting what's known as gas exchange. So gas exchange happens around the alveoli. Those tiny air sacs at the tips of the respiratory oxygen passes into the blood and carbon dioxide passes from the blood into the alveoli and is then exhaled. So, if the COVID-19 affects this process, our body becomes less able to take an oxygen and get rid of that carbon dioxide over time, and some people will need a ventilator to help them breathe.